Okay, we're back for Chapter 4. We're in the same place, same location as we were for Chapter 3. And I want to get going on this part of it. This is going to be giving you another tool today that you're going to be able to use to control your time. So if you work an 8 to 10 hour day, typically, how many things pop up during the day that you need to remember? Somebody needs to talk to you, somebody needs to meet with you, somebody needs you to order something, someone has a problem you've got to fix, you've got to do some research into something, you've got to make some phone calls, you've got a customer you need to talk with, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. People are calling, people are coming into our office, they're coming into our work shack, they're coming into our job site, whatever, and they're wanting things. We're needing things. Things pop up, I got to order this, I need to look into this, I need to make sure we have this material for this job, we need these parts. I need to hire somebody, I need to, on and on and on and on. How do we remember all this stuff? Well, the reality is we can't. And as we talked about in Chapter 3, scheduling is a part of the solution, but the problem is, in the middle of our days, when we're out away from our office or away from our job shack or away from our truck, we don't have the opportunity to schedule things in as they come up. We need a way to record them as they happen. So here's what I've got for you. A few years ago I came up with something called a running list. And this, you can look at it two ways. Running from the idea of this is the list we keep for when we're running and we don't have time to stop and schedule, or it's a list that continues to run along. Continues to run even as the week ends or the month ends, it continues. And this is the difference between a running list and a to-do list. A to-do list, we get to the end of it and we crumple it up and throw it away. A running list is never done. Because this is what the page opposite the calendar is for in our day planner. And I showed you a picture of that the other day in Chapter 3 about there's one page that has, and I might as well show you. So here we go. It's, well look again, and I always use a pencil. I keep a pencil in my day planner so that I can erase it when I need to. But here is the weekly schedule. You can see things, I have things on different times in there. But here is my running list. Some weeks it's longer than others, depends how much I get done and depends how much pops up. But that's what I use this page here for. And it's just a list that what I'll do with later on is when I have time and I sit down, I'll transfer it when I can into my schedule. So I've got a running list, and I just kind of took a few things here. I made up some names here, so there's nobody real that I'm meeting with. But I got two names, Jeff and Roger, and then I need to place a metal order for material, and then I have to meet with customer number 1, and then I have a seminar that I need to get ready for. And then I've got to meet with customer number 2 at some point. And then I've got these phone calls to make. And what I could do is I'll prioritize them, but that's for chapter 5. We're going to talk about that in the next video. Prioritizing things. But here's my running list. And so what I'll do is I'll sit down and I'll transfer them. So phone calls, this one's crucial, so I'll transfer that to my schedule. This one is 2, so I'll schedule that in right away. Customer number 2, it's crucial that I meet with him or her tomorrow, but customer number 1, I can wait for a week or 2. There's no panic. The metal order, I need to transfer to my schedule because I need to do that this afternoon, or I'm going to be in trouble. So that's why it's important to review our schedule several times a day. So then we can transfer some of the things from our running list into our schedule. And here, maybe these two guys, Jeff and Roger. Jeff, it's crucial that we meet as soon as possible, so I schedule him in. But maybe for Roger, it's not quite as crucial. I want to meet with him and he has something we need to talk about, but it's not necessarily a priority that I memeet with him right away. So a running list, I'll keep it in that book, but what I'll do when I'm away from my book, because I don't carry it with me everywhere I go, that would be nonsense. It wouldn't work. It doesn't happen on a job site, it doesn't happen in a shop, we can't do it. But what you can carry with you is a small notebook, one of those little flip pads with a pen in it. And just keep that in your back pocket, in your coveralls, whatever you're wearing. And if something pops up, you can write on there, and that you can transfer later into your main running list, which eventually is going to get scheduled. So you need a way to keep track of the things that pop up, because you might go, well, you know what, I'm going to be back in the office in half an hour, and I'll just write it down then. the reality is 3 or 4 more things are going to pop up if you're walking around or meeting with people, and you're going to forget about that thing that you just thought that you need to put on your running list. So write it down. Have a little notebook with you that it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just you can get them for $1 at a dollar store, and just a cheap pen, because chances are you're going to lose the pen at some point. So you don't want an expensive one. Here's the beauty of it. This helps you with the whole process of not having to remember the things you write down. You don't, like I said, we don't have the time to schedule things into the schedule as soon as they happen, or as soon as someone says, I need your time, or this needs to come up and it jogs our memory. Oh, I need to remember this. I got to do this later. But what we can do is write them down in our book, and then we can forget them, because we're going to transfer them to our main running list when we get back to the office, when we get back to our shack, work shack, when we get back to our truck, whatever it is. We're going to transfer them to that, and eventually it's going to make its way into our schedule. We don't have to remember it anymore. It's taken care of. How many of you can tell me exactly how far 15 3/4 inches is with your hands right now? Do it just like that. Bam. Are you sure? You would stake $150 on it? What about $1,000? Would you stake $1,000? What about your next paycheck? Well, of course not, because none of us remembers exactly how far 15 3/4 inches is, but we don't need to. And here's why. We've got a tool. We don't need to remember the precise distances, because all we do, if we want 15 3/4 inches, we pull this out, and there it is. That's 15 3/4 inches. Exactly 15 3/4 inches. I don't remember. I was off. I was probably another 2 or 3 inches wide from 15 3/4, but that's okay, because I don't have to remember it. And that's the same with you and the things that come up that you need to do and that you need to take care of. If we use these tools, the schedule, the day planner, and now the running list, we can forget things as soon as we write them down. We don't have to remember them anymore, because we know we're going to handle them. They're going to get transferred into our main running list, and then they're going to be scheduled. And then we're going to review it, and we're going to take care of it at the appropriate time. So, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. I've made it simple, and here's why I've made it simple. Organization and administration does not come natural for me. It's something I had to work really hard at. Some people are naturally administrative or naturally organized. There's a lot of accountants who are very organized, and that's just how their mind works. I've got friends who are accountants, and their minds work that way. Mine doesn't. And when I would read books or take a course from someone who was naturally administrative, I thought they'd be the best one to teach me how to be organized, how I could organize myself effectively and get control of my schedule, control of my time. And it was the worst mistake, because to them it comes naturally. They would say, do this. And I'd go, oh, how do you do that? And then, well, do this. And then they'd have a system for becoming organized. And I'm like, okay, you're halfway through your system and I've already got a headache, because I'm already this is already way beyond me. So I needed to come up with something that was simple, that I could remember how to do easily, and that in a crunch I would still be able to fall back on it, and I wouldn't forget, well, is this a 1 or a 2A or a 2A.1 or 2B.3? Sorry, my head doesn't work that way. So I had to come up with a simple answer, and that's what this is. The running list, the little notebook I keep in either my coveralls or my work pants or whatever when I'm walking around and I'm not by my day planner. And then my main running list in my day planner, and then my schedule. And then reviewing my schedule. It's a simple plan. It works really, really well. It's very effective, very efficient. It's a good use of my time. I don't have to spend an hour a day being organized, and neither will you. So invest in a day planner and a small notebook and a pen. And you will be amazed how you'll get control of your schedule, your time, and free up your mind from the things that you're trying to remember now every day. But you don't have to remember them anymore. Write them down, and you know you're going to take care of them. So that's it for Chapter 4. Chapter 5 is going to talk a little bit about how we prioritize the things that we have to do, because we can't do everything that comes across our desks or across our truck dash or whatever. We just can't. We don't have the time, and some of them really we shouldn't be spending our time on. But that's for the next chapter. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you in Chapter 5.